Magandang araw muli sa inyong lahat mga magsasaka, mga estudyante, mga profesor, mga entrepreneurs sa agrikultura. Welcome sa ating podcast muli ng Makabagong Magsasaka, hatid ng Croplife Philippines Inc. Ito ang inyong host, si Valdez, at tayo ay magtatalakay na naman ng panibagong subject na pinamagatang drone application technology sa ating pagsasaka. Ngayong araw na ito ay mayroon tayong pinalad tayo na magkaroon ng tatlong guest, no, sa ating subject na drone spray application technology, at ito ay sina Ginoong Anthony Tan, Ginoong Mervin Cugana, at si Binibining Abigail de Leon. Yan. Pwede po bang magpakilala ang ating guest sa ating mga nakikinig?
Yeah, this is Anthony Tan, founder and CEO of Nuho Precision Agriculture Corporation. The company is based in Davao City and started in 2017. We're one of the first in this space. We are also a fully licensed commercial operator, licensed by CAAP and also the FPA.
Marvin?
Magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Ako po si Mervin Cugana at ako po ay isang agronomy and technical services lead na naka-assign po sa Pangasinan and Benguet, and also isa po akong RPAS controller na registered by CAAP.
Okay. Abi?
Good morning po sa ating lahat. Ako po si Abby De Leon. I've been with Syngenta for more than 3 years already, at ako po ay isa ding agronomist na naka-assign dito sa Central Luzon, and I am more focused on showcasing technologies for our crop protection products for vegetables.
So wow, those are impressive profiles of our speakers, no? So Mr. Anthony, question lang, when was the drone introduced in the world market or commercial market?
Yes, so the drones were first introduced sometime around 2013.
Okay.
So ito yung yung ordinary drones na nakikita niyo po nagpapalipad, no? That was introduced around 2013. Pero it's also, I think, worth noting to talk in context. Paano kasi it's really DJI that made that possible. Sila talaga yung yung Microsoft of drones, for instance, right?
Okay,
Meaning they have
okay.
80% market share. So they started around 2005. It actually was a student that developed this from his got a grant, right, from the government in Hong Kong, and literally developed it from 2005 to about 2013 for commercialization.
Pero in relation to yung agriculture, the drone that was used for agricultural purposes.
Yes, okay.
When was it?
Yes, that was released in 2015.
2015.
Yes. So before 2015, there were aerial applications using drones, but yung DIY, kumbaga, right? And also in Japan, meron din silang yung parang miniaturized helicopter. So but ang innovation kasi ni DJI in 2015 is they released a commercial product that had that had a controller for the ordinary pilot to use. So in other words, you don't have to be a very, very highly skilled mini helicopter pilot. Meron siyang flight algorithm that can apply the chemicals evenly. That's the innovation that was introduced in 2015, along with yung flow meter, because one of the things with drones is yung flow meter natin kailangan active and should spray according to yung speed nga ng aircraft. So that was another innovation in 2015. So 2015 was a big year.
So ibig sabihin yung drone, the difference between the drone that's being used sa movies or sa picture takings maliit lang yon compared to this agricultural kind, no?
Yes. So at that time, yung drones na na-release doon had a 10-liter tank. So
Okay.
malaki yon at for that time.
Okay.
But 10-liter capacity.
And now meron mga nirelease na which are newer versions of those. And ladies and gentlemen, meron ditong prototype, meron ditong setup dito sa ating harapan, no, that you can view to our viewers ng drone which is used for agriculture spraying. And Anthony, can you discuss
Yes.
more about this?
So yes, so this is the DJI Agras T30. So as the name implies, it's a 30-liter drone, meaning yung capacity po niya is 30 liters.
30 liters.
Yes, 30
okay.
liters of chemicals or 30 kilos of seeds.
Spread it in.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
so
and-
so pwede rin siya for for
Yes, it is a multi-purpose.
application ng seeds or
Yes,
sowing.
Yes po.
okay.
In fact, we're doing that right now with the Rice Board and NRTF and DA. So multi-purpose po yung drone natin. So ibig sabihin, yung default niya is a spray tank. Pero pwede po natin tanggalin yung spray tank and palitan natin ng broadcaster tank.
Yeah.
And with the broadcaster tank, you can broadcast seeds and also fertilizers.
Nice. Oh. Ang Good Harvest, ang podcast ng Makabagong Magsasaka, ay hatid sa inyo ng Croplife Philippines Incorporated. At ito ay isang samahan ng mga kumpanyang nag-aatid ng makabagong teknolohiya para sa ikaunlad ng Pilipinong magsasaka. Okay. So, dito, if the viewers can see itong equipment na nandito sa harapan natin, these are the rotors, no? And you have the spray nozzle dun sa ibaba, no? And then you will see here in the bottom of the centerpiece of the equipment is yung to contain the spray solution.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Or the
Broadcaster.
the seeds, no?
yes, yes, the
Kung-
broadcaster ng seeds. Yes.
broadcaster and seeds. Okay, that's nice. So, so ito ngayon yung drone for agricultural use. Okay.
Yes, it's one thing viewers should note is yung standard take-off weight po nito is nasa mga 65 kilos.
65 kilos.
And by law, anything that is above 7 kilos is considered a commercial aircraft. So that's a very important point. So kung nakikita po ninyo, meron po tayong RPU number, which means that it is registered with CAAP. So if you're flying an agricultural drone, you have to be a licensed pilot like Mervin, and also yung unit po ninyo kailangan naka-registered po sa CAAP.
For the benefit of our listeners, CAAP means
Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines.
Yun,
Yeah, so
Civil
anything
Aviation.
around civil aviation, and this is considered an aircraft.
considered an aircraft, a
Yes.
mini helicopter.
Yes, it is.
Right. So, okay. So, going back to our question, what Asian countries have already adopted this kind of drone spraying technology?
Yes. So the genesis of aerial application in Asia is really centered around rice, and that happened siguro mga late 80s with Yamaha, the mini helicopters sa Japan. So that's been around late 80s. But when DJI developed the Agras in 2015, it really broadened the market for rice. Paano kasi you don't have to be very, very skilled as a pilot because this is spray robot. Pag na-map na po natin yung ating palayan, automatic na po siya nagsispray. Yes, so that's the biggest innovation. So just to give some context to it, in 2020, DJI units alone in China sprayed about 16 million hectares. 16.
16 million.
Yes, on the back of about 80,000 units. So China is the largest spray market, pushed of course by urbanization. But in Southeast Asia, it's very exciting in Thailand and Vietnam. So in the last 4 years, according to DJI, those countries sold about 8,000 and 1,000 units of this, respectively.
Wow.
Yes. Philippines and Cambodia are around 100 units the last 4 years.
To date.
Well, that's from last year.
From last
yeah,
year,
yeah.
okay.
So
Okay.
we're in that category.
Anthony, I have a question.
Yes.
It's more used for rice, but what about the other crops?
Yes. So the initial use case
Yeah.
for this is really around
For
rice.
rice.
Why? Because when the initial unit was developed, it was designed to spray flatlands. Diba? Hindi masyado complicated.
Okay.
Nothing with a hilly terrain. Not really. Certainly not for fruit trees. Wala yun, no. But this model right here, again, 6 years after it was first released, this one can do complex terrain, including fruit trees, citrus, things like that. It's possible with this unit. But going back to your question, the genesis is really about rice and corn.
So it's more of for field crops
Yes.
na
for field
ginagamit
crops.
ngayon
Yes,
as
field
of
crops.
now.
In the Philippines, actually in the Philippines, that's a different. We can segue to that later. Pero the design is really for field crops, meaning it's tested, proven. Most of the use case that I mentioned in China is really around rice and corn.
Rice and corn.
Rice and corn.
Right.
So in the Philippines, local scenario, drone is now being used for spraying.
Yes. So first of all, we need to have the chemicals label expanded for us
Yeah.
to use it legally, right?
Okay.
So that's one thing. But if you look at government figures from the civil aviation side, you have about 8,000 hectares being sprayed right now with using drones, and I believe the vast majority of that is in bananas.
In
Yes,
bananas.
yes.
For plantations.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. On the rice, and Nuho focuses on general crops. We sprayed about mga 100 plus last year. So the answer to your question is mostly bananas, and for general crops, a little bit.
So really it can fit as a technology in Philippine agriculture. No?
Oh yes, and especially the technology has advanced. I think Mervin knows this very well, diba? Because when we first trained, mga 2019 ba yun?
2018 or 2017. I think.
2017, yes. Maybe you can talk about the
Yeah,
shift
sure.
in technology at that time.
When we had the first training last 2017, we had one of the first agricultural drones, which is the Agras MG1S, and it has 10-liter water tank capacity. So after several years, we can see here that the upgrade is very
Mas tumaas na.
enormous for the first models. So we can really see the fast advancement of the drones in terms of the features. Later on, I think Sir Anthony can discuss specifically for this unit.
When you talk about the advancement, right? Of course, we went from 4 nozzles, right?
Yeah, 4 nozzles.
And now we have 16. But if you ask me, other than the payload, what's the biggest advancement here? The biggest advancement is really around safety. And that means yung radar natin is omnidirectional. Yung the one we trained before didn't have collision avoidance. So this one has omnidirectional collision avoidance. So which means you can use it in other terrain, not just field crops.
So Marvin, mahirap bang mag-operate ng control nito from the ground?
Actually, based on my experience, madali lang po talaga siya gamitin. So yung mga kabataan na usually mga gamers or usually gumagamit ng mga remote controllers, so parang ganun lang din yung experience when we had the actual flying of the drones. So it will take of course yung basic knowledge about the controls and of course yung practice. Pero in terms of yung difficulty ng pag-fly ng drone, madali lang siya, especially for the mga kabataan natin ngayon.
Okay. So, para lang naglalaro actually, joystick, no? Pero mahirap naman yan pagka nasa taas tapos biglang bumagsak, no? Laki ng cost of investment na mawawala. Okay. So, what can be the benefits or advantages na pwedeng ma-cite ninyo or masabi regarding this kind of technology?
So far as drones, I think when we first introduced this in 2017, 1 hectare we can cover in about 20 to 25 minutes. Diba? Mga ganun, diba? 25 minutes. This one can cover 1 hectare in 6 minutes. 6 minutes flat.
6 minutes.
Yeah, actually you can push it faster, pero 6 minutes. The benefit of that to farmers is transparency. Wait a while, makita mo na apply talaga, right? Because I think it's important to see how it was applied, and even talaga yung, as Mervin knows very well, pag na map natin yung area ninyo and yung mga line spacing natin, that's going to be GPS precise, diba? GPS precise, and also we will have data kung saan talaga pumunta yung drone that it actually sprayed within that plot. So yung transparency is very, very important, I think, for agriculture, especially with our quality inputs, right? Kung hindi talaga na-apply yung inputs ng maayos, then sayang din lang, di ba? Even if you have good chemicals.
Yeah, kasi ang nangyayari ngayon, if most of yung mga younger generations are moving away from the farm, di ba? And so they would rather go to the urban areas rather than engage in farm activities. Kaya most often than not, yung mga farmers are left, yung mga old ones, no? They are left na lang dun sa kanilang areas. So probably this could be one of the the advantages na po pwede natin masabi, na even if the older farmer would get the assistance of a what do you call this, service provider. Po pwede na niyang ma-operate yun even without the di ba? Would you agree?
Oh yes, of course. In fact, the numbers says it all, right? So you imagine that in 2015, DJI started with 0 in China,
Right.
and you go to 80,000 units in 5 years. Laki nun. That's exponential growth, and that's really driven by the lack of labor or shortage of labor. Paano kasi sa China, they have these factories, and so where does the talent come from? It comes from agriculture, rural areas, di ba? And going around the Philippines, I don't know of any place na walang problema sa labor. It's really in short supply. I'm sure our colleagues here can attest to that.
Yun nga kasi, if I'm the farmer halimbawa, I don't know how to operate the drone, di ba? I don't know, yung mga farmers natin, hindi naman sila gamers. So how would they avail of such kind of technology? Do they have to buy? Do they have to learn? Do they have to get the service? Meron ka nabanggit kanina, Anthony, service provider?
Yes, spray service. So going back to the numbers, right? 16 million hectares. So how do you spray 16 million hectares on 80,000 drones? Well, the answer is that China has around 2,000 some odd service providers. So sila talaga they democratized the technology to ordinary farmers. So they don't need to worry about yung technology intro, adaptation. Paano kasi the service provider provides all that. And when to give you some perspective on their journey, when this started in China in 2015, isang hektarya is around 2,000 pesos per hectare. Yung spray application, okay?
Traditional.
No. Yung drone.
Drone lang.
Yes.
Drone lang.
Yes,
Okay.
drone.
Okay.
2,000 pesos per
2,000
hectare.
pesos.
And then now it's nasa mga 5 to 600 pesos
Really?
per hectare. Yes. So the more it's democratized, especially with spray service providers, price will go down. And with the advent of each unit, the improvements, diba, initially 10 liters lang tayo, and this is 30 liter drone. I can, as a spray service provider, I can do more with this equipment, and therefore I can pass on that if the benefits to the farmers by lowering my rate. So yun ang nangyari.
Yun ang advantage.
Yes. And it will cascade down. It will cascade down. I would dare say that within the next 5 years, we will be at parity with labor.
So what you're
Within
saying,
5
Anthony,
years.
is malaki ang advantage on the part of the farmer.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Apart from qualitative benefits on the cost so far as providing a service, so long as we have a critical mass of chemicals, this label expanded, okay. Within 5 years, I can intersect labor cost.
Ang Good Harvest, ang podcast ng Makabagong Magsasaka, ay hatid sa inyo ng Croplife Philippines Incorporated. At ito ay isang samahan ng mga kumpanyang nag-aatid ng makabagong teknolohiya para sa ikaunlad ng Pilipinong magsasaka. Using this kind of technology, I assume there are many challenges, no?
Oh yes.
What can be these challenges that you see the
main
Filipino farmer being able to adapt to this kind of technology?
For ordinary farmers, acquiring the unit, I don't think it's a big problem because there's financing ngayon, diba? And you can probably get as a grant and so on. The biggest challenge really is around safety. It's always around safety. In other words, you have to, just like we trained Mervin, right, diba? Once you've been trained, you appreciate just how to handle an equipment like this. Fully loaded, this is 66.5 kilos flying in the air. Okay, so you can just imagine what can go wrong. Diba? Yung aeroplano nga, diba? Time and again it happens. So you have to treat the equipment with respect. So the biggest challenge, I think, is onboarding responsible farmers who can really manage this aircraft and do so compliantly with civil aviation and pesticide laws, because those two laws, right, are all about safety. They're actually quite reasonable. The laws, they're very reasonable, and it all promotes safety. So yun nga, if everyone is on the same page, then no problem. I think we'll be able to really scale the use of drones. But if people just parang kanya-kanya lang, then it's I think it's in the end it will be bad for the industry, because people will react against, will go against it. So it's very, very important that we operate it safely. And then we get people with the right credentials, just like Mervin over here has credentials from FPA and CAP, and that's the right way.
Okay. So, question lang, kasi I was kanina pa ako tumitingin dito sa unit na nasa harap natin, no, guys. How high ang dapat kaya na i-maintain to be able to spray effectively? Do deliver yung spray?
Sige, Mervin, ikaw.
Actually, for the MGA Agros na nagamit namin, na old model, the maximum height would be around 4 meters. This is
From the ground.
from the ground, depending on the unit actually, kasi yung gamit naming unit dati it requires 4 meters to really cover spray SWAT. Certain spray SWAT para makover yung area. So Sir Anthony may actually add if this unit is the same.
Actually, each unit has a different spray system, and when you're talking about spray systems, it's about droplet delivery, vis-a-vis your AI.
Yes.
Okay, so we don't assume that all chemicals are the same. It's really about ano ba yung droplet delivery na gusto natin, and based on that, we can adjust the line spacing and also yung height. Yeah. So height is sensitive because especially if you're applying, say, herbicides, for instance, diba? But one thing to consider is that it also has a very strong draft. So the draft of this one is at least 66.5 kilos. So talagang natin yung na-push natin yung mga droplets.
Tulad nito, no? Medyo mahangin na ngayon, windy. So would it be proper na mag-spray ka pa rin using drone?
Yeah. Actually, the ideal na condition for flying the drones would be early morning.
Early morning. Ganun
Yes.
pa rin. Yung sa
Usually.
traditional, di ba?
Yes. Yes.
This is to avoid yung spray drift.
Drift.
Drift,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And the good thing about having a drone is because all I need is a 6-minute window tapos na 1 hektarya.
6 minutes per hectare.
Correct.
Tapos.
Yes. So how many, kung meron kang, let's say, 2 hours window in the morning na, di ba, wala masyadong hangin, then you can...
So that's true for rice, corn, vegetables.
This is, depende po sa chemicals yan, pero I would say that the dilution rates being used in China is around 15 to 20 liters per hectare. So assuming na you're in the 15 range, you can apply it within 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
At 6 minutes will get faster with each. Sige, see you next year, mas bababa pa yan. Yes.
Yes, compared to yung traditional kasi it takes longer.
Oh, yeah.
More, di ba?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Abi,
It takes-
yung experience
it
mo, di
takes
ba?
1 day. More of sa mga field crops ay for 1 hectare, it would take about 1 person per day para ma-cover niya yung 1 hectare. Traditional.
Oh, okay.
And what is good about also with drone is as part of an agrochemical company. So we, as much as we want to have our growers na protected kasi yung chemical natin ay it's a hazard, 'di ba? So kung meron tayong technology with the drone and then we can minimize their exposure doon sa mga chemicals na ina-apply nila.
Yun
for
yung
their-
sinasabi kanina ni
for their
Anthony
crops.
na safety.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Speaking of safety.
Safety.
Yes, actually, that's one. Thank you for reiterating that, because I think that's one of the least asked questions for me. When I go around, people don't really talk about stewardship as much. Yung interest kasi ng farmers, ilang liters ba yan, yung capacity niya and everything. Gaano kabilis ba yan, and how much is your commercial rate? People don't really think about the most important thing, which is your health. Health is everything, di ba? So, and our farmers are aging, obviously. So, it's the best thing you can do to basically hard code safety into farming. Paano kasi this is the only technology that can separate applicators from the chemicals. Every time. So that's I think it should be talked about a lot more, and great that Croplife brings it up because I know it's important to you guys.
Yes. And for our listeners, no, bantayan nyo yung part 2 nitong podcast na ito because we will be talking with the regulator, the head of the regulatory department, no, on the regulation aspects of drone technology. Okay. Meron akong question, Anthony. What will be the potential cost for investment or potential cost of investment for this technology?
To acquire the drone,
Yes.
I would budget around 1 to 1.2 million for the drone. Depende kasi with the batteries, how many batteries you want and the scale that you want.
And the model, no?
And model, yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, the older models are cheaper, but my honest advice to anyone that asks me who is interested in buying, I said magpa-service muna kayo, because at the end of the day, what's the efficacy structure like, diba? Before you buy. So better that you understand what you can really do and see how we apply it, so that you can mimic the safety, particularly the pre-flight safety practices that we do.
So, ibig sabihin, it's not necessarily directly buying the unit.
Yes.
Spray service provider can help.
Yes. And then parang seamless, and that's what's happening in China. The first wave was actually with spray service providers. They bought a lot. Tapos naman, cost cascaded down to the point that ordinary farmers, they're buying it themselves, diba? So one thing you can count on is that costs go down over time, just like cell phones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at some point, again, it can be democratized to the average farmer, but we always have to be careful with safety, diba? Especially in stewardship natin. Some people mix chemicals, things like that. So, yeah.
Okay. So, I think na-cover natin lahat yung most topics na gusto nating itanong sa ating mga resource persons. Would you have any parting words or advice to our listeners?
Yeah, I think that the advancement of drones in the Philippines is really contingent on a lot of parties playing their part, right? And I think that's the message for everyone. If you are, for example, a chemical company, then how many labels have you label expanded for drone use, right? So if you're in government, then maybe we can do more rice and corn than they do bananas at this point. How do we normalize the laws for that? And as a service provider, I need to prove to you that I can do this thing safely. So and it's all about people coming together, and I think we need to set some numbers to make sure that we're actually moving the needle. And what I mean is government, private sector come in, and how is it going to look like next year? Paano kasi with the laissez-faire, obviously we are where we are, right? So we're at Cambodia level, okay? So we need to start thinking, okay, what do we really want? Because there are government programs out there, for instance, a clustering, right? This is perfect for clustering, diba? Spraying is part of your IPM, for instance, planting, applying pesticides at the same time. So maybe it could be there, but for it to be a part of that, we also have to intersect yung natin, label expansion and FPA regulations around that, diba? So but from what I see, to achieve rice security, this is definitely untapped. I think it's very fair to say that the drones is untapped in the Philippines, and you don't need to look further than the exporters of Thailand and Vietnam to see that they've really adopted the technology to their benefit, and we're buying their stuff. So,
So this is some sort of a package of technology
yes.
that we are introducing to the Filipino farmers, to the Filipino entrepreneurs. And lahatan ito no? So andyan ang crop protection materials, nandyan ang technology, and the way forward is to advance according to whatever available modern resources we have dito to improve our yield, our harvest, no, our production ventures. So can I ask si Marvin, baka meron ka bang mga parting words?
Yeah. For my parting words, I mean, this is to really concentrate on for the younger generations. We have a lot to offer sa modern agriculture, and the agriculture in the Philippines really needs the younger generations to step up. So, maraming pwedeng i-offer yung mga bagong technologies sa agriculture. So, we encourage mga younger generations to really engage sa agriculture. So, yan lang.
Right. Thank you, Marvin. Abby?
Sa akin, again, regarding the drone technology, this is a very promising technology na pwede nating gamitin dito sa atin, especially as part of crop protection business. Our number one top of mind is safety ng ating mga gumagamit. At itong drone ay isang paraan para ma-apply natin ng mas safe ang mga binibigay nating technology sa mga farmers. And also, I believe yung drone ay meron siyang camera so that we could use it to map our fields. And this is one thing that we can have moving towards precision technology wherein we can map our field, see kung saan natin nakikita yung mga spots na merong mga pests and diseases. And then from there, we could really efficiently apply the technology or our crop protection products doon sa mga kailangang ma-applyan or kailangang i-control yung mga problema ng farmers like the pest and diseases. So I think the drone technology would be a very promising technology that we could really use for our agriculture here in the Philippines.
All right. So thank you, Abi. Yeah, meron akong question. Are there any feedbacks from the farmers regarding this kind of spray application technology?
We just finished the NRTF, National Rice Technical Forum in Bicol. And the farmers were really amazed by not just the speed but also the precision dun sa application. We introduced two things dun. So first is yung seed spreading, seed broadcasting. So we applied 20 kilos of hybrids per hectare. So na-minimize nga yung seeding rate natin. And the yield is pretty good, around 9 metric tons per hectare. So that was impressive for them. Hindi nila akalain na such a slow seeding rate you can yield 9 metric tons. But that can still be improved with crop protection. And sa spray naman, the speed just impressed them. Na tingnan lang nila, wala pang 10 minutes tapos na. Right? So especially sa mga nagsasaka ng mga 10, 20, 30 years, it's really the best thing that they've seen in agriculture. Fascinating.
Wow. Ang Good Harvest, ang podcast ng Makabagong Magsasaka, ay hatid sa inyo ng Croplife Philippines Incorporated. At ito ay isang samahan ng mga kumpanyang nag-aatid ng makabagong teknolohiya para sa ikaunlad ng Pilipinong magsasaka. Okay. So dito sa harapan natin there is a drone equipment and ang gusto natin is magkaroon ng idea kung ano ba yung mga parts na yan. Can I request si Anthony to walk us through
Yes, please.
dito sa parts ng drone so we can be educated, no? Thank you.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is the DJI Agras T30. I think the most visible part na nakikita nyo dito is yung tank natin. So itong tank na to is a 30 kilo tank. So yun yung ating payload. Pwede po natin siyang tanggalin and palitan ng broadcaster tank. So yun po yung ginagamit namin for seed spreading. So it's a multi-purpose drone. Dito po yung ating central board and also yung mga pumps natin. This is actually the most valuable part of the aircraft. So yung controller or yung kumbaga yung black box ng ating aircraft nandito po. And all the navigational equipment such as ito yung ating RTK for precision. Drone comes with these composite fiber, carbon fiber arms and 16 nozzles. So dito po sa harap natin, meron tayong 4 nozzles. And ano po to? Uses standard T-jet nozzles. Ito po yung ating motors. So yung thrust po nitong isang motor na to is about 15 kilos isa. Okay, so underneath the motors is it's the ESC, electronic speed control. So getting instructions or signals from the main board to the ESC, yun po yung mag-adjust ng ating RPM dito sa motors, and based on that the aircraft moves. The other thing that I spoke about is yung ating omnidirectional radar dito sa baba. And these are the legs, also carbon fiber. Yeah, basically that's it. That's the basic parts of the aircraft.
Anthony, I have a question.
Yes.
Pwede nyo bang palitan ng yung nozzles kasi usually sa mga type ng sprayer pwede mo siyang palitan, di ba?
Yes.
Sa mga ginagamit.
So
Sa drone ba pwede din
yes,
mo bang palitan?
you can replace with 2 additional nozzles. Yes. There's actually one for fruit spraying. I just don't have the model with me. Pero importante kasi yung the algorithm knows which nozzle you're using, because that's going to affect your numbers. Right? Yeah.
Right. And also the nozzle would also be depending on the type of crop
Yes,
that
yes,
you
absolutely.
are going to spray.
Right. Which is why we need to communicate with the chemical manufacturer para malaman talaga natin na well, the standard nozzle is generally okay, but if you want to enhance the quality, 'di ba, ng application natin, best that we really understand about nozzles. Parang kasi it's a small thing to change the nozzles, 'di ba?
So, yung supporting yung question ni Abby kanina, no? If you're going to use this drone to apply herbicides, then yung nozzles can be changed to deliver coarse droplets, no?
Of course, yes.
Oo.
Coarse droplets, yes.
Right. So, kung gusto natin magkaroon ng a procedure to broadcast rice seeds, and so you put the seeds here.
Hindi. So, tatanggalin natin itong tank to,
tatanggalin ito,
the whole thing.
papalitan ito.
The whole thing, yes.
Okay.
And then we replace it with a separate broadcaster tank.
Yun.
Yes.
Alright. Right.
Yes.
Anthony, follow-up question.
Yeah.
Nakikita ko yung may mga QR code sa nakadikit doon
Yes,
sa agras.
yes.
Ano po ba yung pag siniscan mo ba yan, ano makikita?
Yeah, so that improves communication with the manufacturer, so that alam nila yung not just the part but the exact part na produce natin. So yes.
So for every QR code,
Yes.
iba-ibang part yun.
Yes, and
Ng
also sa warranty, alam nila na kasama dito sa batch na to. Right?
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So, ano yung tsura nung controller?
A controller? Sandali lang. We can ask for the controller.
So, para makita lang nung audience, kasi meron kanina sinasabi si Mervin na para lang naglalaro. It's like a joystick, no?
Yes.
Para mag-idea. Ano ba yung tsura nun? Para lang yung, ano ba yan? Hindi ko alam yung, nakikita ko lang yun sa mga
Video
bata
games.
Video games eh. Ganun lang ba yung tsura nun?
Gamepad.
Or is it something bigger? Or portable?
Yeah, again, question din, Anthony, yung may cameraman siya.
Yes.
Ano yung resolution ng camera for this type of drone?
I don't have the exact resolution. I have to look it up. But anyway, these are what you call FPV, or first person view cameras. So the purpose is for the pilot to have visibility kung
So
saan
that
siya
you could see
pupunta,
it in your-
front
on
and
your
back.
controller,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. So the next generation of drones that are coming up is going to have what you've been talking about, which is yung crop analytics. Na as you're spraying, you're actually understanding what's going on over there. So this is why just like as you said, we need to have more of the new generation, yung mga students, and especially yung mga professors to get on this. Paano kasi? There are no set standards for this yet. So as the technology is released, who's the leader? Diba?
Yep.
Diba? The leader is the one that actually applies. And the thing is, sa China, marami silang use case, but all of that is based on practical application, is what I'm saying, right? So we can do more dito sa Pilipinas, kaya nga nandito tayo sa CLSU, diba? Good venue for that.
Ito ang example ng drone control, what do you call that? Drone controller.
Okay, so this is an example of a plot na ginawa namin sa Bicol. It's a bit of a complicated plot, paano kasi may mga puno tayo sa gitna. So what you see here, hold on. Is yung line spacing natin dito. Yung line spacing po natin pwede natin i-adjust. Okay, so yung yellow lines po na nakikita ninyo, using GPS technology, dyan po lilipad yung ating drone. And bago po siya lumipad, kailangan po natin i-set um, yung ating dilution rate, meaning how many liters per hectare, and also yung ating height, which controls the swath. And so those are the key things. Yung speed din pwede natin i-adjust, pero usually I let the algorithm decide kung ano. Importante talaga is yung dilution rate natin and yung height. Okay. So pag na ano po to, actually this is a file. So meron po tayong mga ibang ito na map natin kanina lang sa CLSU. Yan po yung ano natin dito. Okay. So naka-file na po yan. So which means pag binalikan po namin sa Bicol, hindi namin lalakarin, di ba? I-execute lang namin. Okay.
So yan po ang ating version ng podcast ngayong araw na ito. Sana ay marami kayong napulot, marami kayong nakuhang impormasyon dito sa ating podcast ng Makabagong Magsasaka, entitled Drone Technology and Innovation in Spraying Technology for Philippine Agriculture. At abangan nyo po ang susunod na podcast po natin on drone technology. At ito po ay tungkol sa regulation ng paggamit ng drone. Maraming salamat po muli. Ito po si Leo Valdez, signing off. Ang Good Harvest, ang podcast ng Makabagong Magsasaka, ay hatid sa inyo ng Croplife Philippines Incorporated. At ito ay isang samahan ng mga kumpanyang nag-aatid ng makabagong teknolohiya para sa ikauunlad ng Pilipinong magsasaka.